You are now listening to the Dual Position Podcast.
The boys are back to talk all things Supercoach all season long.
Please welcome your hosts, Whisperer and Brew.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dual Position Podcast. I am your host, the SC Whisperer, coach of the Ramsey Resurgence, joined, as always, by a man looking very disheveled. Looks like he hasn't shaved in about 3 weeks. I'm surprised you're not underwater with the amount of rain that we've had along the East Coast. I know you're in Western Sydney, so you're probably copping it as well. I'm in Newcastle, and I'm getting a belting. Brewski, how are we?
Yeah, not bad. Definitely, it's stopped raining in the last few hours, but before that, probably 4 or 5 days solid. I am looking like a bit of a hobo at the moment. Been a bit lazy,
mate. It's been a weird sort of 2 or 3 weeks Supercoach wise, and we've sort of been in and out. Don't know who's playing, who's going, who's going to perform, who's going to shit the bed. Last week of sort of the origin period, we might get a little bit of downturn in performance next week, but apart from that, should be smooth sailing from round 19 onwards. Seems like we both handled the bye periods okay. We didn't do a Sunday roundup. I was a bit busy, and I think you had some stuff on, so it was good to have the week off. Just I guess a quick overview for anyone not following. I did see some red arrows, which I was surprised about, down to 210th overall. So I was only down 16 spots or whatever, but we finished up with at 1168, which I thought was pretty good, considering the guys around me. But yeah, we did have a slight drop in the rank, but apart from that, mate, your Pappenhausen holding for the last 6 weeks paid off. Buying Latrell paid off, and you saw some green arrows.
I didn't get Latrell.
Stop! Oh my god, why?
Yeah, I ended up getting Jerome Hughes. I don't know.
Ew.
I just thought that Hughes was the better longer term play, and then obviously, Latrell came out and looked fantastic. It's that run home. I'm really scared about that run home and his injury history, and I don't have many trades left, so I thought Hughes might be the safer play. And once Munster obviously being out kind of sunk in a little bit, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go Hughes, and I still think it's going to be the right move long term. I won't judge it on 1 week, but we'll see what happens. In terms of captaincy this week, which we'll get to later, which is actually really difficult this week.
Roll the dice.
It's shithouse, to be honest with you. I would have kind of liked to have had Latrell this week, because at least then I could have got a VCC with confidence, but I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later. The
2 best players this week play in the same fucking game, so it's just bro, what do we do? However, though, don't judge your trades off 1 week. For me, I didn't really have any flops, I would say. I mean, in Angus Crichton, I think he shit the bed, but apart from that, overall, okay, heading into this week will be interesting, because we do have a fair bit of team list news that we can segue into. Our boy Grant Anderson survives. Obviously, Cameron Munster away with the Maroon side. That's going to see Nick Meaney shift into the halves. Some news today that Remus Smith, his season is over, so Marion Seve is going to hold one centre spot. And that sees Anderson, he will hold the other. In a very, very perfect world, he gets dropped next week because he's done his job. He was a great round 17 nuff. But yeah, he did really well in terms of holding his spot, which is awesome. Sifa Talakai has been named on the bench, so kind of annoying. Takes his stocks down, not stocks, but his just overall availability. I mean, the best ability is availability, and he is not here this week, which has tempted some people to sell. What are we thinking with Sifa? Because we know with a guy like Katoa, who you're in the boat of, or a guy like Ronaldo, the next 2 or 3 weeks, not ideal, but the run home is fantastic. Sifa not being available this week, though, is a little bit of a sting. If you had the trades, would you sell, or would you just hold regardless?
Yeah, I'd sell. I might be one of those people selling. I haven't 100% worked out who's going to be my outs this week. I need to look at it a little bit longer term. And I haven't quite done that yet. So he potentially is a sell for me this week, but I believe he is a sell in general. I know the draw home is the draw home, but he's not seeing
he got shafted. He got absolutely shafted.
Oh, we're talking about the line break.
Oh, mate.
He should have had a try assist.
Bro, if Campbell Graham is going to keep his, all Campbell Graham did was literally catch and pass. Talakai caught it, ran 3 meters, drew a I don't know. I honestly...
Is that the one? That's the one they gave to Will Kennedy, right?
Mate, scoring this year...
is bullshit.
I don't
so
like to
over it.
bag Supercoach because they get bagged enough, and I don't want to burn bridges. But like, scoring this year has been absolutely atrocious, like absolutely dreadful. Like, there had to be a huge outbreak, a huge mass called in, like 2 weeks ago to get Manu his try assist. Talakai, I think he just got robbed. Anyway, that's my rant done. But you're on the Talakai sell. I just think I mean, centre wing, 2RF, whatever. Like, I think he's a fine play. I think Jack Whiten now has become everyone's favourite Supercoach. Like, every Supercoach's player's like second favourite player, because him coming back into the Origin side, him coming back into 18th man, allows for our boy Nico Hines to be available for round 17. Huge in. Not really like huge in terms of like any pod relevancy because we all own him. But it's just nice to have another number there to boost the overall points and give us maybe another VC option this week as well. Bradman Best is in for Dane Gagai, who's away for Origin camp. Best returns from injury. Campbell Graham is out with an eye fracture. We got a little bit of word on this last night. I got a little bit of intel. Posted it. Turns out to be correct, which is awesome. Jed Cartwright. Now, is Jed Cartwright the perfect nuff? I posted that it's Jed Cartwright's season, and people that maybe aren't experienced Supercoach players were calling me crazy, but at this time of the year, like if we can buy a guy for 200k, Jewel centre wing, Jewel, he's going to be in for this week, he's going to be out, he's going to be gone. Like, I just think this is perfect, mate. Absolutely perfect.
If he just plays this week and that's it, then that's a dream come true.
Absolute genius. Worst case scenario is he's moved to the bench very last minute, scores about 6 points this week, and then is on the bench for the rest of the season, and that's going to be terrible. But, I mean, we'll talk on him in trade talk later on. But, yeah, I'm really keen for Jed Cartwright. Does have that handy duel. I was buying enough this week anyway. I was looking at Shannon Harris from the Penrith Panthers. But, yeah, we get Jed Cartwright, who's going to be a number this week.
Yep, he's one of my trades. Spoiler alert.
Now, I'm a Tigers fan. I should know this guy.
Poley.
I don't know. Look, Brett Kamali has been told by Tim Sheens to start developing youth, try and fast track them. So I think he's actually won his spot on merit. Twil's out for the season. I think he scored 44 points last week, basically all in base power, bottom dollar price, front row forward. Awesome. I don't need the points, so I'm not going to go after him, but I can definitely see the appeal. And he does feature in the top 10 most bought this week, but he gets another run for the Tigers. Ryan Madison, back from that rib injury. He's back in the lock jersey, which is a huge tick for Supercoaches.
Yeah, I really want to get him this week. I'm just struggling to figure out how.
Yeah, that's the case. Like, I think a lot of coaches would have wished he played last week, and then he would have sort of had a little bit of a price drop. But guys jumping on this week, it's going to be very tough. I know another edge back rower that plenty of people are looking at from Parramatta, and we'll touch on him today as well. Half of the entire city of Brisbane just seems to be out with injuries, so anyone that's getting a run, I reckon if you rock up to Red Hill tomorrow, Kevin Walters might chuck you a jersey. They've got too many lists to name. Capewell Origin, Ricky out, Haas out with Haas is just out, Carrigan, Tamaro Martin. Like, there's just every man and his dog is out, and it sees a few little openings. Tessie New at fullback, and the man that's not in Supercoach yet, Hosking, starting. I expect him to be bottom dollar. He should be added to the game, I would say, probably tomorrow. But yeah, what do we think of Hosking? Obviously, I've not watched much of him, but if he's just going to be another Jed Cartwright situation, another slam dunk for 30k cheaper.
I have no idea who that guy is, so I cannot comment. I don't know the first thing about him, unfortunately.
But if he does manage to lock down the edge spot, plays 65 plus minutes for 1 week, and that's going to be perfect for the same situation that we look at Jed Cartwright.
Yep, make him duel as well, and I'll grab him.
100%. Yeah, look, only 4 games this week, so not a huge amount of Team List Tuesday news, but there is definitely plenty of movement in the transfer market. The number one most bought player this week, no surprise after his 110 points in about 6 minutes last week, made me vomit in my mouth. Ryan Pappenhausen, 17.6% of teams have purchased Pappenhausen. Now, some people are going to get tricky and anti-pod him, but he's averaging 100 points this year, and that's not a turbo 104. Like, he's a genuine 100-point game guy, and we've just seen what he did last week. It was devastating to watch. Like, he is exceptional. Looks like he's goal kicking again. Didn't goal kick for the first half of the game, but picked up at the back end. All systems go for Pap. We're paying a lot of money for him, but I don't want to outthink this one, bro. Like, I don't want to try and be the smartest guy in the room and give this big spiel about why we anti-pod Pap. I'm all aboard the Pap train.
100% agree. That's the reason I held him. I didn't want to have to jump through hoops to get him back because he's the number one player basically I want in my squad. I've got a lot of people asking me at the moment, should I get Trell or should I get Pappenhausen? And for me, it's simple. It's Trell could be a huge pod, don't get me wrong. And if you want to pick him as your second fullback,
yeah,
go for it. But Pappenhausen, man.
Basically moves into Trell. Like, I like the idea of picking up Trell if he is your second fullback. I don't want to
roasted me last week. Can I just say that? People said you're an idiot for this trade. Like, not everyone.
I think it was risky.
Ballsy,
I do think it was risky.
And now every man and his dog's like, oh, you got to get Trell.
Mate, have you not?
Supercoach world, it's
I was going to say, have you not worked out the Supercoach world is extremely fickle, But that's why we love it. On Trell, like I love what I saw from him. He looks really good. South Jaw running home is putrid. That's the only issue. And if I buy Trell, I'm kind of stuck with Cody Walker, and I don't really want to be stuck with Cody Walker for the long term. So that's the reason why I'm not going him. But yeah, I can definitely see a world where people just run Trell and Pappenhausen as they run home. I guess the flip side is, I'm assuming it's Tedesco. Like, that's the other option. So you've got to look at it like, do you think Trell gets rested in round 25? I don't think he does. Do you think Teddy gets rested in round 25? Maybe. He's the kind of guy that actually probably backs up. So you've just got to. They'll be fighting.
They'll be fighting for the 8. They're not going to be in their usual spot.
Yeah, so you've basically got to look at points scored from now until the season's end. If you think the Trell with the weak advantage is going to have the difference, then go Trell. But I wouldn't rely on him to be your number one fullback, and that's just me. I think Pappenhausen is an absolute lock, absolute must-have, basically non-negotiable for me. Unless you are a strictly head-to-head player, then I can understand it. But me in 210th, I'm speaking from an overall standpoint, I just think Pappenhausen is the guy.
He is the guy. Got to have him.
Should be your first picked. So let's talk on Trell. Second fullback, I'm a huge fan of. First fullback, I'm not a huge fan. I think you're in agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's your second, by all means, you would think most people will now be taking probably Teddy or Trell. Trell's brought himself into the conversation as a goal-kicking fullback as well. So which one you take? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, that's literally. I think it comes down to how you see the run home of fixtures. I'm leaning towards Tedesco, but you can definitely make a case for Trell and just look at the numbers running home. Like, just do it like a, I don't know if you think Teddy's going to average 80 for the run home and Trell's going to average 68. Then put that into a calculator, work out the rounds. If you think the points difference is going to be there, then take whoever you think will score the most points. It is splitting hairs, and the reason why I'm not going Trell is just because I have Cody Walker, and Cody Walker is my avenue to Tedesco. So that means I would be stuck with Walker if I got Latrell.
And I was going Latrell last week because I wanted to be different. Like, I wanted to have a pottish side to finish the season. So now that the conversation's popping up, Trell or Tedesco, if I'm looking at it purely as the pick, I pick Tedesco. He scores 65, 70 on a bad day. I don't think Trell's going to do that every week. I think he's going to put out the occasional stinker when he has a lazy game. Teddy and the Roosters, they haven't even really hit form. Like, if they hit form, Teddy will start hitting tons. If
you compare the pair, they have the same ceiling for my belief. They have the same ceiling, which is 140, 150. But if you look at the floor, Trell is much more likely to go for like a 15 than Teddy. So that's why I'm going Teddy. 6% bought this week. The third most popular player is Pol. You know who we're speaking of. Tigers front row forward. Bottom dollar. Yep, 44 points in base power last week. Awesome. Looks like he has the spot with Twile out. I can see why people are keen, but like, do we really need the cash now? Like, sure, do we need someone to make us money? Like, we're only going to have 7 weeks out of him. That's why I'm looking at it just sort of a one and done enough. I can understand why people are doing it. And looking at his work rate last week, I don't think he's going to become an AE issue. Just a question of the minutes. They've got a hooker on the bench. They've got Stefano there as well. So I think he does get the minutes. I can definitely understand this. If this was 5 weeks ago, this would be a slam dunk pick for me. But we're now in round 17. I'm in a different position than some players, so I guess I don't need him. But from a side that does need him, like yourself, I'd love to hear why you think he is worthy of the number 3 spot on the most bought list.
Well, I'm just chasing all the cash I can to make my side as good as it can be for the run home, I guess. And he's bottom dollar. He did pump out the base last week. He made 37 tackles in 41 minutes, which is pretty high level. If he gets a bit more ball, takes some hit ups, maybe some tackle busts, who knows what he could do. But it's not even really about that for me. It's not like he's going to be a guy that you're going to be picking in your 17. Like pretty much barring disaster. So for me, it's just all about the cash. I've barely looped. I think I looped at the start of the season, for example. I'll probably loop this weekend because it's a bye round, but the loops don't happen that often, so I'm not too worried about the AE part of it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Number 4 most bought, Brandon Smith, 5.4% of teams. Now, last week on Twitter, I said, Cheese has been given all the opportunity in the world. I feel like the attack just isn't there. So what does Cheese do? Just goes and scores a try. Typical me putting the curse on him. However, I still stand by that. I don't really see this at all.
I don't like the purchase, to be honest with you. Like I said it last week as an owner, I've been tempted to sell the bloke, and sure, he scored a try last week and he scored like 67 or whatever it was. Like,
yes.
Wow. How are you going to feel when he doesn't score the try and he scores 37, which is what I've been copping for like the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, no.
So,
and
I just feel like for me, honestly, I would pick these cheap guys this week before I'd pick Brandon Smith. At least you'll have cash in the bank for the following weeks. Yeah,
there's a couple of mid-range guys on this list that I really just can't get behind. I'd rather go dirt cheap or get your premiums. And Brandon Smith does not fall into that category for me. So I would be giving him a miss. I've been kind of anti-Brandon Smith all season. However, Isaiah Tass, 2.9% of teams being brought in this week with the news that Campbell Graham is out for indefinite 6 weeks, looking at it thereabouts. I can understand this. It's a buy number. He's 300 and something K. He looks good. Latrell back should definitely free him up. And yeah, we saw that last week. Latrell sort of giving him good ball and getting him in good space. And yeah, I feel like if you held Tass, then you've been handed a godsend. But would you go out of your way to purchase him, Brew?
Nope. No, I wouldn't. He probably has the job security now, I suppose, but he's already made his cash, and I don't really think he's going to be someone you're going to be wanted playing in your 17. So if you're going to pick him, you may as well go cheaper if you can. Use a dual to get him in second row or front row forward. Most of us have Talakai and Tago, so there should be some dual flex there. And if there's not, you've got your side set up wrong. So you should fix that. I personally, no, I'm not paying 300 for Tass, especially with that draw home.
Would you rather pay more for AJ then, or are you still definitely off that? Because AJ at 2.9% of team, in 2.9% of teams this week, he's at number 6 most purchased. I'd rather just take Tass for the cheaper price, to be honest, out of these two.
AJ who?
Alex Johnson.
Isn't he like 600K plus?
Exactly. So I would much rather just pay the 300 and take Tass if you want a piece of the South left edge, which I don't. But if you're really keen on Souths, I'd just rather take Tass, to be honest, for half the price. I'm really not keen on AJ.
I'd take Edric Lee.
Shout out to Edric Lee. There's been some definitely Edric Lee movement. But you're obviously against AJ as well. Yeah,
100%. For all the same reasons, Latrell will step up against the big sides. He's got a history of doing that. There's been a bit of media today about his scores and whatnot against the higher end sides. And we know what Latrell's like. He has his occasional lazy games and he has his spiteful, vengeful games. And, he does play the Roosters on the run home. So I'm sure he'll be up for that one. And I'm sure there'll be some scores in there. I'm just a little bit worried about the consistency of his scores. But a guy like AJ, he's reliant purely on attacking junk. A guy like Tass isn't going to have a massive amount of base. We saw that in the first couple of weeks that he played. So, if South don't click, and, last week aside, I don't think they're going to click on the way home and be anything too special. I just think you're going to get stuck with a guy that's going to get you annoying scores.
This is some high-level footy analysis here, Bruce. So strap yourselves in for this very in-depth thing. But believe it or not, mate, the fullback touches the ball more than the winger. Did you know that?
Doesn't surprise me at all.
I know, right? Yeah, huge. So obviously the Troll's going to have a better chance to score points. So I'd rather just pay the money and get Troll. I'd rather cheap out and get Tass than AJ. I think AJ stinks. However,
let's get Trell available in the centres again.
Oh yes, let's please. However, I'll tell you who doesn't stink, and I'm kicking myself for not buying him last week because he is a plotter, but he's a plotter of the best sense. Joe Offahengawi, 2.4% of teams. I was really on board with Joe last week, didn't end up getting him, but he looks to be like the leader of this pack, like in just terms of work rate. Brett Kamali is asking him to do a lot, and look, I think he scored like 80 points in the weekend, just tackling everything that moved. I can definitely understand why people are doing this. He's going to be like a decent second or third front row forward. He's got the dual flexibility. It's not the most exciting pick, but it's probably going to tie you over for the season's end.
I said this morning to one of the blokes at work. I said, I hate this pick, but I'm going to make it today because front row forward is crap. I need a front row forward. And as much as I hate making this pick,
it's a very boring pick. It's a very boring pick, isn't it?
It's just, it's like an Aiden Tolman pick. And to be honest with you, and please don't take offense at this, but I hate watching the Tigers games this year. They're one of the worst teams I've seen in a very long time. And for that reason, like owning a Tigers player is going to make me want to sit there and watch Joe and watch how many touches he does and see if he gets an assist because he's been getting some junk lately. And I'm going to have to end up paying more attention to West Tigers games, which makes me a bit sad. But I am buying Joe this week.
Oh, mate, it's a brilliant strategy from the Tigers. Let's just try and get some kind of fantasy relevant guy to get us some points to try and get some eyes on the TV because we stink. And owning Joe is the only reason as to why that. Mate, I went to the Knights game last week. I tell you what, I'm glad I owned Mitch Barnett because it was pissing down rain. It was cold. It was windy. I'm like, God, I'm glad I've got someone to watch at this game because it's hard when you're watching a team that is not very exciting. So Joe, I do like the pick there, and I can understand it. It's a very boring pick, but it's a pick that could tie you over for the season's end. I don't think he's going to let you down. However, number 8, Nelson Asma-Solomona. Now,
hate it.
This is revolting. Now, Nas has scored over 70 points twice this year. That's it. And both of those with tries. I mean, the bloke is just a perennial 40-point scorer without attack. There's a reason why he's 380k. And I think people are just looking at it going like, I have no money. I need someone to play this week. I'm going to buy Nas. Just buy Jed Cartwright. Just buy Hoskins when he's added to the game. Just buy Pole, whatever his name is. Don't buy Nas for 200k more. Please don't. I don't understand this at all.
Let me first of all agree with you. I hate the Nas pick, but I will say I did own Nas for about 15 weeks last season.
He was okay last year,
and he was a good 50 to 60 range player most of the time. But yeah, this season
he stinks.
It's not a goer, and you're absolutely right. It's 1 week, guys. It's a bye round. Some people have 6 players. Other people wing out 17 and score as much as some guys that have 13. Like, it's just one of those weeks. Just get what you can get on the field. Don't chase one week score.
The way I'm looking at it is if I'm paying more than 300k for a guy, he's in my team for the long haul. And if you're looking at your team, if you're in your head-to-head grand final, round 24, $1,000 on the line, whatever, and you're picking your reserves, do you really want to be going, oh, shit, I got to pick Nas? Like, that's the reality of it. Like, if you're happy going, you know what, I'm going to win my grand final, Nas is going to be the poster boy, then by all means, go for it. But, like, I could think of 100 players I'd rather take a punt on than Big Nelson. I just don't get it. Like, it's not for me. Number 9, not too much to say about this. Shannon Harris, 1.9% of teams. This might flip into Jed Cartwright. This might flip into Zach Hoskins. Like, it might flip into just any cheapie. I think he was just a placeholder. He was a placeholder for me until team today as well. Replace Shannon Harris with any bottom dollar enough. I think that's sort of what needs to be said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Number 10, Ryan Madison. 1.8% of teams bringing him in. The Brewball order is not one of them so far, but you're definitely tempted by it.
I'm trying. It's just my setup.
Got to move heaven and earth for those biceps, mate.
Well, it's still Jai Arrow is just he's such a pain to me, that bloke.
He's just there.
But I've got no depth. So I need to bring in a front row forward. Like, it's a non-negotiable for me. I have to bring in a front row forward. And I just can't get one also in the second row. And it's doing my head in. I'll end up working something out this week. You watch. I'll figure out a way.
Jack DeBellan, mate.
No. I said Ryan Madison. I want to try and get Madison and Joe O. I need to find a way how to do that. How about
Sean Lane?
Listen, mate. Don't you get me started.
Oh, I did not. Like I said, I posted on Twitter things I never thought I'd say. Jeremy Marshall-King having a better year than Reid Marnie. And also Sean Lane deciding just to become, an elite edge back rower. And Dane Gagai being an immortal through the first 5 weeks of footy.
Hey, I'll stand by my.
He has stunk recently.
He's shit lately, and so it was just he had a good month, and that was it. You know, he was like the Parramatta Eels. He showed something for a little bit, and now he's just fallen off a cliff.
Oh, hey, let's move into the top 5 most sold. Number 1 with 11% of teams is Karaz from the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. I couldn't get this guy right all year. I bought him. I had him from the start. Like I had him from when he emerged. Awesome. But I'd play him when he gets 20. I'd bench him when he gets 80. He's peaked in value. I've never picked him right, but you know I think it's time to move him on. I understand why 11% of teams have decided to give him the flick.
Oh, it's the time. Like he's done a perfect job. You know, he was there for the first buy. He's now made some money. It's time. Move him on.
It is time. Number 2, most sold, Campbell Graham. Pretty self-explanatory here, I think, Brew.
Yeah, 8 weeks. That's season. Sell.
Oh, like imagine if you bought him like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like thinking he's like a great centre. Oh, brutal. Supercoach is a cool game.
Buy planning, right? Buy planning.
Fun stuff. Pretty sure I did the same with TPJ. I think I bought TPJ in round 10 and he decided to not play for the last 3 weeks.
Pretty sure I bought him the same week.
Mate, after I tried to be the smartest guy all preseason and saying, Payne Haas won't hurt me, whatever, he ended up averaging 75 points for the first 5 weeks or whatever. Fast forward to now, you can buy Payne Haas for 480k. Obviously, he's out with injury this week, but it just shows you like just a fall from grace that he's had, like with the AC injury and just minutes being like 480k for Payne Haas, and people are cashing out on him. Do you think?
How about Josh Schuster, sub 300 when he's going to start 6 next year? Next year's looking good.
Next year is looking tight. Turbo's going to be like 600k. Like it's gonna the cheese will be bottom dollar as well. It's going to be very fun next year. But on Payne Haas, are you selling? Because it's like the lowest he's going to be. I understand he's not playing this week and maybe not next week either. But like,
probably not.
Front
I think you've
so
lost
dead.
Too much. You've probably lost too much now. You may as well just park him and hope he finds his form.
Yeah, no,
you're not going to get much out of it, and you're probably going to have to put money into it to really move it up. And honestly, this week is a bit of a wasteland. I look at
who do you
on
move
the trade
to?
screen.
Like, there's Tarpany, but he's not playing this week. There's
all the guys I want aren't playing this week.
There's Joe O, and that's kind of it. I mean, like, there's no one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's bad, man. Like next week's the week. Like, maybe set yourself up for trades next week. You got Fafita's getting cheap. Josh Curran, I reckon's a massive smoky to pick, like sub 500.
Tohu's finally hitting some post ACL form.
There's some good guys to pick up. Don't waste your moves this week, valuable trades.
If you don't have
just on absolute plotters for 1 week score, like just turn the TV off for the weekend.
If you don't
turn your
have
app off for the weekend and save it for the run home.
If you don't have
more enjoyment.
If you don't have Hamwell, I mean, like Seagulls have a brilliant run home. So like, yeah, just don't make the trade because you have to. If you haven't
got him yet,
I will be getting him next week. I think I'll be buying next week. Number 4, Angus Crichton after a sin bin, and Rooster's not looking amazing. His scores have been okay in recent weeks. Last week was a bit of a shocker with the sin bin and whatever. I think all the forwards last week really took a hit in the rain. But yeah, 4.3% of teams have decided to sell Angus, and one of the hosts in this podcast has also sold him this week. Maybe. We haven't confirmed yet. But what do you think about selling Angus?
To be honest with you, he was in my initial run of trades. Like the first ones I did have him going out. I just... I thought I'd lost Milne, obviously, at lockout.
Hey, he's back, your boy.
I was pretty pissed off, and Milne stuffed my school bad last week because I didn't know that he... Last I heard, he was named and he was going to start centre, and then I missed the start of the game, and I'm sitting there going, where's Milne? Who's this other fella? And then I realised it was Tass, and then I'm like, fuck. And I went and had a look, and he wasn't in the side, and I copped Green Anderson's 10 points, and it just, 1,200 plus became 1,170 something. It just cruelled me. So I was pretty dirty, and the first thing I did was click Tane Milne's name because I was like, this bastard, like, by planned, I've held on to him for fucking ever, and he's not even going to play the buy on me. And then, then I saw, might have been you or someone on Twitter post a little, murmur that Campbell Graham's going to be out for 6 to 8. I was like, ooh, Straight away, I sent a few texts. Tade Milne, baby. Woo!
He's back. He's back in. Yeah, that was me. Shout out to I wanna say his name's Jaden. I think he was the one that tipped me off. So shout out to if you're Jaden for tipping me off. Mate, with the top 10 most bought, there was 2 fullbacks, 1 and 2. So you think a fullback has to make way. James Tedesco, 3.1% of teams moving him on. I don't get it. Like, I understand Pap, must have. Latrell, borderline, but like not at the expense of Teddy. No.
Next year, can on your little soundboard thingamajig, can you have what is this amateur hour next year on your soundboard?
We'll take requests. But
that is exactly what I would have pushed right then. If you're selling Teddy, seriously, get your head in check. What are you doing? The
only way you're selling Teddy is if you have not made a single trade all year and you've got like 400,000 trades left. Because like, why?
This is like people that are, selling Munster right now or sold Cleary a month ago because, he was going to have a drop-off at Origin. You don't sell the guns.
Don't knock selling Munster because I definitely considered it yesterday. But yeah,
he's back next week.
Yeah, no. Teddy is out of 3.1% of teams, so not ideal. You and I are not keen on that move. Hey, as always, stand by us. We're going to have a quick short break. We're going to come back with captains. We're going to come back with the hot takes. We're going to come back with both our trade talks. I'm going to answer a few listener questions as to how we're both setting up for the run home, how we're going to help you guys set up for the run home as well. So please sit tight. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Alrighty, we are back. So basically running at the top 10. I think it's interesting because there have been a lot of clubs are not throwing shit at the wall, but like the Tigers, they're breeding some youth. Broncos have like half their side out, so there's going to be some cheapies come through, and I think it'll make really interesting moves for trades this week. However, what is going to be more interesting, I think, is trying to nail your captains.
Good afternoon, this is your captain speaking.
At the top of the show, I alluded to Pappenhausen and Hines being the 2 best players of this round. Of course they have to play each other. Not ideal. And I don't think you and I are going to be geniuses here by saying one of them is going to be our VC. But the question is, which one, Brew? Which one are we leaning towards? Both goal kicking. Who do you think has the higher ceiling? Who do you think will score more this week?
Well, I don't know who will score more. I wish I did. But I personally, I'm going for Pappenhausen. I think he has the higher ceiling of the two, most definitely. So I'm going to put my faith in Pappy.
Shout out to the SuperCoach Experience. They're in the chat. Thank you so much for your kind words. Cheers, boys. Been enjoying your stuff this year as well. So just on that, I saw Savs in the chat there, so I wanted to give them a quick shout out. You're on the Pap train for your VC?
Yeah, I'm going Paps myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I am also leaning towards Paps. What he did last week. Like, I went to bed. I was messaging Aman, and I said, "Hey, I'm not watching the game. I'm gonna go to bed. Keep me updated." And I got into bed, and then I just had my phone go bzz. I saw the message. He was like, "Oh my god!" I didn't look at it, and then about 3 minutes later, it was another one saying, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh shit! Like, what's happened?" And then Pappenhausen's just ballistic, and he's absolutely tore it up. Nico Hines last week, yeah, he had like a line break assist, a line break, and maybe a try assist. Didn't look overly impressive. Still pumped out 90 points. Like, that bloke just shits points for fun as well. So it is tough. But yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Hines as well. No, sorry, I'm leaning towards Paps over Hines. However, Cody Walker did cross my mind as a VC. Huge punt, but I think I'm going to go with the other two. What are we looking at? 75? 80? How many points are we looking at this week? Because it's kind of a wasteland for captaincy.
If they get that, I'm looping, because my options after that game, like I reckon half my squad plays that on Thursday night, which is going to annoy me because, as most of you know, I get up at 3 a.m. to go to work. So on Thursday, I'm probably going to have a nap before the game or something just so I can watch it. And I'm going to want to watch it all, I'd suggest, with half my sides playing. So that's going to be fun. After that game, it's a wasteland for captains, in my opinion. I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm really looking, like with captaincy, I'm really looking at the Parramatta game, and it's a question of like IPAPs versus Maddo versus Dylan Brown if you own him. I think the way I'm looking at it is VC Paps and C IPAP, but I am looking at Maddo, but like low-key kind of scared about his ribcage and like is his minutes going to get managed or whatever. Where are you landing on the C?
Genuine concerns. At the moment, my C is either going on Joe O or
You've got to. No. You've got to go Joe O C. If you're buying him, I want to do it. Save 60.
Captaining a Tigers player, that's got to be, that's Russian roulette for sure.
Jesus Christ.
But no, I'm hoping I can just loop.
So yeah, but
the
what
options are that bad that I'm tempted to straight C. Obviously, I'm not going to do that on a buy round because it's a free hit anyway.
Loop, yeah.
But if this wasn't a free hit, I'd pretty much straight C in this first game.
So let's say full time comes around, you wake up for work, and Ryan Pappenhausen has scored you 77 points.
Only because my other options are that dire, I will probably loop that.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's kind of borderline, but like if I had a Moses or a Dylan Brown, for example,
like a high ceiling guy.
Yeah, I'd ride it out on the C and go, you know what, I'm not going to lose out too much. But the chat's just caught up to boring.
The chat's just caught up to you saying Joey captain, and they are bluff. It's one of the worst things you've said on this podcast.
That's how bad my side is this year, man. I don't have many options.
Oh, brutal. I think I'm trying to work out IPAP or Maddo. I think Maddo's probably got the higher upside, but like IPAP's probably safer. I don't know. It's kind of gross.
It probably will go safe and go IPAP just because he's got more of a try scoring ability than Joe O.
Yeah. What about Latrell? I mean, if you're buying Latrell, do you prefer him as a VC over Pappenhausen?
No.
Better matchup?
Look, that's the problem. Like, it's my problem too. Like, I've got Hines. Even if they played in different games, I've got Hines and Pappenhausen both at fullback, so I could only pick one anyway. So, which is really annoying. But I don't know. I just don't think I could go Trell over a Pappenhausen or a Hines. I just don't think he has the ceiling of either of those two guys.
No, that's totally fair. Let's move on to some hot takes. Last week, I had David Fafita under 40. Got 48, so kind of close. Had Nico over 90. That was a tick, I'm pretty sure. Had the West Tigers 13 plus. I had the Warriors 13 plus over the Tigers, which also hit. That looked like the lock bet of the week. Do you remember what you had last week or not?
I went Super Rogue last week.
Here we go.
Here we go. I said that, what was it? Cleary. I said Cleary would go under 65. That was a fail. He got 82. But he did kind of play how I thought he would. I thought he would have a bit of a downish game post-Origin, and I feel like he did against the Chooks. I will skip my second one and go to the third one. Tongue-in-cheek, every week I do something like this. I said Kickout or Katoa would score a hat-trick. Yeah, obviously, neither of that happened.
They did
score tries, though.
What was your second one? Why are we skipping it?
My second one was I said that both, not one of them, both of them would get hundreds. I said Pappenhausen and Latrell would both go 100 plus.
Oh.
And who wants to go check Latrell's score? And we obviously all know that Pappenhausen got 135.
Did Trell get 99?
He did.
Oh.
He did.
Brutal.
I was like,
what a
I
bad
went
beat.
super bold. I didn't just say one bloke would come back on their return game and get 100. I said both of them would, and bloody Latrell gets 99.
Yeah, that's brutal. This week I have gone Pappenhausen and Hines will make us sad. No actual score. I just think we may be disappointed. They might both get like 65 and people are like, oh, that's like not what we wanted. I've got IPAP bounce back with an 80. And I've got Reed Marnie 65 against the Tigers. I'm really hoping Reed Marnie just like JMK is out playing Reed Marnie. Like, who saw this coming?
Definitely not, bro.
JMK's like top 3 hooker in the game right now. Like,
all right.
Weird parallel universe.
I'm going to go one for each game, okay? So I'm going to scroll through. So I'm going to go Grant Anderson for a double this week.
God, I hope so.
I would love that. What do we got? Second game. We got Knights versus Rabbitohs. I'm going Edric Lee to score another 100.
God, that'd make some Twitter crowd very happy.
This one, I don't know why I'm going to say this. I'm going to say the Tigers will beat Parramatta.
I was waiting for a Joe try 100+ game, something like that from you.
I do want to. I have had a bit of luck cheering on my guys this year, actually. And I've got the Dragons beating the Broncos 13+.
I have the Dragons as like amazing value this week. I know Ben Hunt's out, but like half the Broncos dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report a trade.
Hit the wrong soundbite. All right, trades this week. Mine are more spicy than yours, so I'm going to give the floor to you, and then I will lead off with mine, mate.
All right. Well, I just got to hit that reverse button so I can see what the actual moves were. 1 second. Okay, so at the moment, my ins are Joe O, Pole, and Cartwright. My outs are Jai Arrow, Fletcher Baker, and Sifa Talakai.
Interesting. Cutting ties with Sifa. I don't know how. Don't know how I feel about that one.
At the moment, I am.
All right. I have also made 3 trades this week. I have gone Karaz to Ryan Pappenhausen. I've gone Sawali to Jed Cartwright. I've gone Angus Crichton to, not in the game yet, Hoskins from the Broncos. Now, people are, crazy, whatever. They're not going to play next week. That's the point. So I guess if you're new to Supercoach, you might be raising your eyebrows at my trades, but I've brought in 2 guys who I don't really plan on being there next week. And that is not a case of me wasting trades. It's a case of me trying to thin my side out. I've got plenty of depth. I don't need the players. I need the points. So we're going to take these guys. They're going to be cheap, and I really hope that they don't see the light of day in their respective sides ever again. If I can get 80 points between the 2 of them, I think that is great. It's going to boost my numbers. I'm going to have 13 for this week, and I kind of think I need the numbers to be competing at the top end of the table. So we're doing that. Angus out. How do you feel about that? Because he was kind of in my keeper side for the run. He was in my keeper side for the run home, but like, man, Adam Elliott's really outplaying him, and Adam Elliott's kind of forcing me to pick him in my sort of round 25 team.
Yeah, how did Elliott score 87 last week?
He's a machine. Honestly, like he's going to be depending on what his price is next year. Like, remember, he started the season so poor, so his average for the year is only like 56 or something. Depending on how the Knights use him next year, could be tempted.
I hope Ricky benches him again.
I don't. I don't really care. I actually don't care. Like, Ricky picked such a weird bench. But also the news of Nickel Cookstar being released to the Warriors, that could free up a spot for someone on the bench, which is not good. Someone asked me in the chat. So after I make these 3 trades, I've got 7 trades left, and I think I need another 3 to get my guns I need. I have 300 and once Hoskins is added, I've just calculated him at bottom price. I'm going to have 375k in the bank, and then I'm probably going to go McInnes to Grant and maybe Barnett to Olakawatu, or like someone to Olakawatu, maybe like a Max King or someone. But that's why I've got the cash in the bank there. So when I said to you before, I've got Olakawatu in my plans next week. And then I think my last trade planned is Cody Walker out, Ezra Mam down, Nico Hines up, James Tedesco in, and that'll be in round 19. 7 trades left, 3 more to get my ideal team, so 4 for the run home. That is the plan.
I like that last move with the Mam. I haven't worked out what I'm going to do with Ezra yet. I'm hoping I can use him to just tilt someone all the way up, either center or second row. I haven't kind of decided yet. I really want David Fafita. I know everyone says, the Titans run last and Fafita's not in form. But
what has he shown you that makes you want to buy him? And that's not me trying to be a smart ass. I'm just very curious as to why. Because we know how destructive he is, but like, what's he shown this year, just in general?
Well, I think that's the point. What has he shown? He's shown sweet F all. Like, but he still scores 50 to 60 every single week. And that's with small minutes off the bench. Like, what happens if this bloke actually, wakes up one day and puts his actual footy boots on and goes bonkers? Like, I want to own that. And I don't know. The way my side's looking at the moment, and as you've noticed, I don't care as much, given that I'm traveling so bad. So I'm just kind of flying seat of my pants. Having your Olakau'atu and your kick out, and so let's say you add Fafita in there. Angus is a bit boring this year, unfortunately, but like, I love those type of players who can crash over and score 2 tries and, score you 150 points on any given week. So everyone's telling me I'm an idiot not to do it, but I just want to do it, to be honest. So I really do want to go there still.
That's fair. I get it. It'll be a bit of excitement for you as well. And big pod play.
Give me a reason to watch Titans games too, because I don't own any of them at the moment either, and they suck real bad.
I don't think I've owned a Titan. I've owned Fafita. I was going to say, apart from Fafita, I don't think I've owned a Titan all year. Oh, and Bo Firma. That's a lie. But yeah, basically 7 trades left for me, 3 to get my ideal team, and we'll go from there. Mate, I'm having a stinker in head-to-head this year. In the Podmasters League, I think the Podmasters League, we are ranked 3rd, with the 3rd best league in the comp. And I've scored the 3rd most amount of points in that league. I am 10th in head-to-head. Brutal. I lost to Sangster. No disrespect to Sangster, but I lost to Sangster last week.
No disrespect to Sangster, but disrespect to Sangster.
Head-to-head's brutal.
That's why I hate head-to-head, man. Like, I'm in a couple of head-to-heads, and there's one of them that, like, and I'm going bad this year, but I got the 2nd highest overall rank, and I'm coming like 14th. And I'm just like, how do I lose?
If you have the 2nd highest overall rank, league? I want to be in whatever cash comps you're in.
Hey, that's my work comp. All right, you leave those boys alone.
Shout out to the boys. That's going to wrap up, I guess, the formalities of the Dual Position podcast. I'm going to actually keep the questions bit in the audio feed. I know some people have asked for it, so if you're one of the guys that want to hear Brew and I ramble for the next 10 minutes, just answering some questions live on stream, you are more than free to turn off. But if you're driving to work and you want to hear me and Brew talk some utter shit for 10 minutes, then hang around. But yeah, we're going to answer a couple of questions. A lot of people are asking, like, should they trade X player for Pappenhausen, or should they trade player Y? Do you think trading someone that plays this week is viable? Like, for example, plenty of people have said, oh, surely McInnes is a sell. Or, like, for example, I can't remember. I think it was Rick. Yeah, Rick Pacey said, no, Rick wants a centre wing. Someone in the chat asked, like, should they sell Mam for Pappenhausen? Like, what are your thoughts on selling players that do play this week?
Mam to Pappenhausen, 100%. Like, if that's your ticket to Pappenhausen, then do it, because Pappy could come out and score 200 this week. Mam is not going to do that. So you could make up for the loss of the player this round simply by adding a player of that caliber. But it really depends who you're trading to who if you're going to lose a number for this week to do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. One thing, I reckon this is a blanket question. This is going to be us sort of talking on the spot. But Liam asks sort of his top options for the run home of sort of whatever. So I reckon off the top of our heads, let's give our best 3 for each position running home in sort of in order. For hooker, I would say Grant is still number 1. And then, honestly, Cook, Cotter, Robson, Coruscant, and I don't know what order you want to put those in, but I think they're the next sort of the best 4 out of the 2. So Grant, clear number 1. And then I would probably...
I got Appy number 2.
Appy number 2. I was going to say, yeah. So I would say Cook or Appy as 2. And then who would you sort of rank? Would you rank Cotter over Robson, or would you rank Robson over Cotter, knowing that Cotter might get sort of back in and maybe rested around 25? Who knows?
Cotter probably falls down my ranks a little bit because he's coming back from injury. I really do like Robson. And I think the Cows run home's not too bad. There's someone we're forgetting about. Oh, Cook. So it would be Cook versus Robson for 3rd, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got Cook versus Appy for 2nd. So yeah, Cook 3rd is more than respectable. Front row forward, I think Joe Tarpany, clear cut number 1 for me. Yep.
His base lately is just off the charts.
Number 2, probably IPAP still, despite having a few slow weeks.
Yeah, but watch this space just with him. Like, he is fading a little bit.
He did this last year. He did this last year as well.
He did, yes. So Joe O might be pushing.
Yeah, I was going to say, then you got guys like Clemmer, you've got guys like Joe O, Tamalolo as well. Yeah, there's some other guys there. I think the clear cut number 1 though is Joe Tarpany. Your 2RF, it's more of an open field. I think is Hamill the clear? No, is Matto the clear cut 2RF? Is Elliott like who is the best 2RF?
shit.
I never thought I'd be saying Adam Elliott. Jesus Christ.
I think it's Olakau'atu.
Hamwell.
I think he's the one. I think he's your number one guy that you want in the second row.
Then Maddo?
Probably then Maddo, yeah, but just I want to see how Maddo goes at lock compared to that roving role he was playing off the bench, because we've only seen one and it did dip his scores a little bit. So, but he's still in the list.
Who's the second best halfback? Nico, obviously. I just forgot about him. Okay, so I don't think it's a question. I think it's Cleary then Nico. Are you entertaining anyone else? Obviously, you've got Jerome Hughes, but are you entertaining anyone else?
It would only be Hughes or Moses
DCE?
off the top of my head. Actually, DCE,
Seagulls have a good run home, man.
So DCE or Hughes would actually be third. And Moses wouldn't be in my top three.
And if Garrick's hip is going to be sort of a lingering issue, DCE may get the goal kicking.
Oh, he didn't kick him too well last week, so we'll see about that.
5/8, I think, number one, Cameron Munster. No surprise there. Number two, probably Dylan Brown for me, still. And I really can't think of a clear-cut sort of third option. Maybe I'm forgetting someone. Is Drinkwater 5/8 eligible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drinkwater would probably be three, because
three.
If you're going to have Drinky, you should have him up there. You shouldn't have him fullback now.
Plenty of people are saying Cam Murray for the 2RF. Yeah, we can definitely mention Murray. I don't think he...
Yeah, Murray's very try-reliant.
I don't think he eclipses... Yeah, I don't think he eclipses Hamole, and I also think he's a bit of a minutes risk for the run home as well, which does worry me.
Yeah, he does historically finish like a house on fire, but so I don't mind the Cam Murray shout.
Let's talk centre wings, and I think Brian To'o maybe has emerged as the number one best option for the run home. Back in the try-scoring four. I think he is, man. Maybe Manu.
Mulatalo.
Number one?
With their draw home, yeah.
I've definitely got Mulatalo top three. I don't know if he's one, but I think it's probably Manu, To'o, Mulatalo. Is that fair to say? And then maybe Chuck Garrick in there if he's fully fit.
And I just want to say, Sione Katoa is outscored Mulatalo.
You need to drop this. You need to drop this. You need to drop this Katoa narrative. Jesse Ramian hates you. He doesn't care about your Supercoach team.
But he still keeps producing. So just imagine if Ramian, maybe gets a little tweak in the hammy or something like that.
And so yeah, look, I think take your pick out of To'o, Garrick, Manu, Mulatalo, any of those.
Yeah, look, it's probably Garrick, to be honest. Garrick's probably number one, and then I've probably got Mulatalo 2, Joey Manu 3, and then 4's probably a
Also,
Panther.
Can we just quickly talk on Manu? Because, that bloke is just shitting points for fun. Years gone by, he's sort of been really inconsistent. But, the last 8 weeks, Manu has just been scoring points for fun.
Manu's realised that he's a lot better footballer than he thought he was. And
he's like that big kid. He's like that kid that finally hit puberty in, under 13's footy. He's like, you know what? I'm actually pretty big. Let's just run the footy.
I think there's probably also a level of fear factor from the Roosters that if we don't let this guy touch the ball
he's gonna leave
as many times as he wants, someone might poach him for big bucks and we lose a star. So I think that might be part of it. I kind of hope that he does end up sticking to 5'8" for a while just to see how he goes.
Now, fullbacks, this will be contentious. Number one, Ryan Papenhuyzen, no debate there. Number two, though, is it Teddy? Is it Trell?
It's Teddy.
It's Teddy. It's Teddy for me as well. Trell 3. Then you got guys like. I'd class Val Holmes.
Drinkwater.
God, who else is floating around?
Oh,
no one.
Your Guthos and these blokes, they're not doing too well this year. I know Gutho went on an absolute tear last year, and he was in the conversation, but he's just not in the conversation this year. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. That was a quickly good one. We'll do a couple more. Some people are asking, what are we doing with Drinkwater? I'm not an owner. You're not an owner. But is he a season hold? Is he a season keeper?
Well, you talk, and I'm going to check their draw.
I'm going to ramble. Look, with Drinkwater, I think it's been fantastic that Todd Payton has finally realised how good he is. I know they tried Val at 1, they tried Hammer at 1. I know that Drinky had his deficiencies in defense, but the spark that he provides, Dearden and Townsend, I think that's really elevated them. So it's really good that he is getting good footy, and we're finally seeing the best of him. As for his Supercoach stocks, I really wish I did jump on. It was more of a pedigree thing for me. I couldn't really trust him, but yeah, the output for him has been brilliant. So I guess what's the Cowboys draw looking like for the run home, Brewski?
All right, so obviously Sharks this week bye rounds. No, wait, not. Straight after the bye round, actually. but then it's Tigers, awesome. Dragons, awesome. Bulldogs, awesome. Roosters been leaking a lot of points this year. Warriors, awesome. South, who knows which South is going to turn up.
What round is that South game?
24.
So that's that's grand final.
And then they finish with the Panthers.
All right, so I think
guys,
if you're a head-to-head guy, absolutely you hold him. If you're an overall guy, you might be one of those guys that you flick on at the very last minute. If Teamless Tuesday goes your way in round 25, he could be a guy that you move on for the very last round.
But they're 6 points in front too. Do you honestly think they're going to roll out a full strength side in round 26? Round 25? I don't think they are.
6 points clear of. Oh, sorry, you mean the Panthers?
Yeah,
I still think
they're
they're
chance of resting.
Yeah, I still think they're defensively good enough though. Like I think that they're just a unit who are defensively very good.
Yeah, but I think if a full strength Cowboys side comes out on that park in round 25 against a half-assed Panthers
it depends.
side,
I mean, hey, it depends. Like if the Cowboys have top 4 locked up, do they roll out their full side?
I think they do because
it means more.
Penrith,
to them.
they're a different beast, and this is their first run in a few years. Like I think they came second last year, so I don't think they will have any mass restings unless a bloke is going into that game questionable with injury. I don't think they'll be resting, so I don't mind that. So,
I actually do mind that as well. Yeah, I do like that.
Quarter second 5'8", big pod move.
Yeah, I do like that. All right, let's do a couple more. What are our stances on Ruben Cotter as a hold? Thinking he could be a massive pod. Because a lot of people sold.
If you've held this long, just hold for a bit longer, honestly. Like, if you didn't sell him when he was out 2 weeks ago, what's the point now?
I held, and I'm still holding. I was holding because he wasn't going to lose many cash, and I was going to flip him to Harry Grant. But with Cam McInnes shit in the bed, coming off the bench, I'm happy to give Cam McInnes a pass mark for last week because he scored like 45, and every middle forward scored 45 last week. So I want to see how he goes this week off the bench in maybe, hopefully, some better weather. But if he doesn't improve, then it'll be McInnes on the chopping block for Grant, and I will hold Cotter with the intent that he is going to get rested or rotated, for the first 2 or 3 weeks. He's back around 19, I'm pretty sure. Let's do a couple more, and then we will round up. Is it worth getting Trell and Pap? Is it worth getting Trell and Pap this week, leaving him with 7 trades and 2 to 3 players needing for the final team? Jaden, I have 7 trades left, and I need 2 to 3 players, so I'm in the same boat as you. So I think trades-wise, you're fine. If you have clear paths to get to these guys, you're fine. But Brew, what are your thoughts on getting Trell and Pappenhausen this week?
Well, if you can do it, why not? As long as you're not selling Teddy or something silly to do it.
Yeah, no. If you're not ripping your team apart, like if you can sell if you can go. If you have a little bit of cash in the bank and you can go like Suwali, Kuraz, and Cooler out for Pap and Trell and enough, I'm all aboard. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be pulling my side apart for that.
Yeah, something like that.
One more question. What are our thoughts on Adam Dewey at no ownership at all? Playing centre for the Tigers. Brewski, do you want to grab the Tigers draw for me for the run home while I sort of give my thoughts on Dewey? Now, he's playing in the centres. Last year, he definitely performed way better at 5'8", but still did have his moments in the centres for the Tigers. However, I think this Tiger side is very different to last year. At least the Tigers had some kind of flair. Not flair, but they could at least put up a little bit of attack. Dewey is undoubtedly our best player, but is he going to be able to provide that spark in centre wing? It'll be a question. He's going to be cheap in a couple of weeks coming off the bench, but now he's starting back at centre. But it's a case of his run home. And Brewski, what is that going to be looking like?
Yeah, look, if you want to pick him up from round 24, go ahead. So they've got Parramatta, Penrith, North Queensland,
Jesus
Broncos.
Christ.
And then they got Newcastle.
Your boy Joe will be doing a lot of tackles over the next month.
That's great. Newcastle, Sharks, Roosters, Dragons, Canberra. It's horrible. The Tigers are getting the wooden spoon, guys. This just confirms it.
Cut it in half, give it to us, and give it to the Titans. Last one, because Harry Lloyd has asked this a couple of times. I haven't got around to answering it. Harry asks, is Karaz to Sivo a wasted third trade and better off going McInnes and Karaz to Manu next week? I was really keen on getting Sivo, but hasn't really shown much. I think he had 6 runs last week, which is horrid. And I think McInnes, after next week, his time in the sun may be done. So I'd maybe hold on to Karaz this week and maybe look to move him on next week with McInnes.
Yeah, look, their draws look, it's not shocking, but like from 19, they've got Broncos, Panthers, Manly.
Is this the Eels? Is this the Bulldogs?
This the Eels. So, and then they've got South Sydney, and then they finish with Brisbane, Melbourne.
I'm not worried about Parramatta. I'm worried about Sivo. Like, he just looks like he doesn't want to get involved.
Yeah, but Sivo, my point is that Sivo needs tries, otherwise Sivo gets no points. And like with that, like Melbourne in the final round, Panthers in round 20, they'll both be defensive juggernauts to finish. I don't like it, to be honest with you. I'm not very high on owning mass Parramatta players for the run home.
Unless your name is Ryan Madison, Isaiah Papali'i, or Dylan Brown, I'm kind of in the same boat. But hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. This has been the round, 17? Jesus Christ, this year has gone quick. Round 17 preview. We've got, 8 weeks of footy left, 9 weeks of footy left, and we're all done. FPL is opening up tonight, so I'll be up tonight, mate. Yeah, the game opens up tonight. You'll be long gone to sleep, mate. As I said on Twitter.
Yeah, but I'll be up early.
As I said on Twitter, FPL's releasing today. Fantasy football, like the NFL stuff, is in full swing. Mate, this is peak fantasy sports season, and I'm all here for it. But yeah, good luck this week, guys. It's going to be a pretty... I mean, apart from the first game, I think they're going to be close games, but like nothing really entertaining, apart from the first game.
So brew at 3 a.m. We'll have a dart and a coffee in the dark, and I'll be there doing my FPL team and getting the shits.
The first one of many this preseason. I've been SuperCoach Whisperer. You've been listening to the Dual Position Podcast, joined as always by Brewski. We will be back on Sunday night. I've got no plans, so we'll be back Sunday night. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you all see some wonderful green arrows.
Indeed.